And we're live. Welcome back to the Coffee with Craner show for a special episode with the Bluestones. An exciting episode on the middle of the screen. You'll see Tarek Jafar and Justin Tessier from the Bluestones. And what's cool is they're from Windsor, and they've really grown their platform since 2010, where they first performed at Fog Lounge. And I mean, since then, they've been nominated for Juno Awards, have climbed the Billboard charts, and a number of other local music charts, and two of their albums, Hidden Gems and Black Holes. Really glad to have you both on the show today, and thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Lyndon.
So we'll kick it off, and I know we're anticipating this question. Where in Windsor, Essex is your favorite place for a nice cup of joe?
I mean, I think, Tarek, I feel like we have the same answer here, right?
Yeah, it's Anchor Coffee.
Anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
Either location. I mean, I like the Walkerville one a little more. But
yeah,
it's got to be Anchor. We're big coffee guys.
Great people there, and they just have a great space, and yeah, it's just good coffee at the end of the day.
Shout out to Kyle and the crew.
Yes, and I know before you said you're picky coffee drinkers.
Yeah, it's like no Tim Hortons allowed. That's kind of like a rule on tour. No one's allowed to get it.
Yeah. No crew,
even if you want to.
Doesn't matter.
No, I'm joking, but I'm serious. I won't drink it. It's Starbucks minimum.
I did try the Tim Biebs though. I did try those,
and
they are pretty good. Like the birthday cake one is like birthday waffle or something like that. That one was really good.
Are they just Timbits?
Well, yeah, they're Timbits. They're just like different flavor.
Got it.
That's it.
I mean, everyone was trying, like, ever since the Travis Scott McDonald's thing. It's like, what celebrity can we get in to do this? You know?
Yeah.
And they got them. They got Biebs.
What about like the Bluestone Timbits or something in the future?
I wouldn't do Timbits. It's a little off brand, but I would do something. Right. I would do some kind of like, it's tough. I don't know, like fast food. I would probably do Arby's because we do actually really like Arby's.
I don't know, man. Like I love the beef and cheddar, but like I don't even think that's not more on brand than Timbits. Like beef and cheddar.
I don't know.
Blue cheeseburger.
Ooh, yeah, because there's like the blue in there. I like the tie-in. Besides
coffee and burgers, I'm getting a bit hungry here. I want to talk about your success, and it's one you should be proud of, and I know everyone in Windsor Essex is. How did it start? I mean, 2018, you joined Entertainment One, you signed a major contract with them, and since then you've been climbing the charts on Spotify and Apple Music and other platforms. How did this happen? How did you get recognized?
I think we could probably, I mean, we were slugging it out in the independent music world for years. And it wasn't really until we kind of put things aside because we both left Windsor for a little while, that we were contacted by who is now our management company. They reached out in like late 2016, just wanting to see if we had any management representation, and we didn't at the time. So we kind of thought it was a joke at first, but they ended up following through on a lot of things. They put us in front of a lot of like label heads and agencies and publishers out in the States. And I guess I can kind of draw it all back to there, like where at least where we've up until now achieved, what we have, which, still there's a lot more to do, but I would probably trace it back to that moment where we got picked up by American management.
Did you have to put your music in front of those people, or did it all just come towards you?
Yeah, like we had released everything independently on Spotify. It's easy to do these days. You can just go onto a website, let's say, and put all of your discography into it, and it'll distribute it to all these streaming platforms. So Spotify was definitely one of them. And from that, it just kind of created a lot more accessibility to our music. That mixed with a couple of really cool placements that we had on a couple of TV shows. One was Suits, that really, really helped out. and the other one was some Monday Night Football spots, which was really great. But sort of that culminated to a point where the manager that found us, Eddie, he heard us on Spotify from a related artist of his. He was listening to another artist named Rainwolf. Right at the bottom, it said related artist to the Blue Stones. He's like, oh, I haven't heard of these guys. Clicked through, and that's it. That's what started the relationship. So yeah, being on that platform was huge for us, and doing it independently led to something that isn't so independent anymore.
Would you recommend that artists start out independently?
I mean,
it's the only way you can.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to these days, because everyone, there's so many independent artists that there's no way for you to sign a label deal unless they know, that you've had at least a little bit of traction. So you don't really have a choice.
Well, what would you say would be the song that really sold that management company?
Black Holes.
Yeah,
no doubt. That's what everyone says. That was basically like I think all the songs on that album are good, but it was kind of like the deal was structured because of that song. It was nice that we had other songs that ended up doing well, like Be My Fire ended up doing really well. Rolling with the Punches was always, a fan favorite, but it really was that song that, pushed everything. That was the one that got added to all the Spotify playlists and, different whatever streaming platform playlists. So it was really that one.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I listened to your music, and that's, I guess, how I found out about you. But and I mean, Black Holes is what, 32 million streams on Spotify now, roughly?
Yeah,
wow.
I think so.
I didn't know that. That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild, man.
But I mean, besides producing popular tracks, I know it's just both of you running your band right now, correct?
Well, yeah, we definitely run our band. We have a very heavy hand into what we do. But now we have a team that's built around us, and we kind of utilize our team accordingly.
Okay, what does that structure look like?
So we have a management team. We have two, main day-to-day managers who work with the rest of our team, like booking agents. Everyone at our label, their first point of contact is our management team. If we, for this next album that we're writing, we're looking at bringing in some different producers. We kind of task our managers with going out and reaching out to those people once we've sort of identified that we want to work with them, that sort of stuff. That's what a manager does. Booking agents book all of your shows. So they're, a crucial part of your team because that's where you make all your money. Your record label is who funds, the recording of your albums and the promotion of your music. So that's, another key part of your team. And then you have publicists outside of that would do stuff like book podcasts.
Yeah. And I mean, besides, you mentioned all that, which is fantastic. And something you mentioned is booking gigs. Didn't you recently just go on a tour in the U.S.?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great.
How was it? Where was it? What was it like?
Guys, basically all throughout the U.S. We started in the Midwest.
Wow.
So actually started in St. Louis, came back towards Ohio, and then we just went west all the way down to L.A. and then across to Texas and basically back up. We didn't really hit very much of the East Coast, which we were a little bit upset about because we do love playing cities like Philly. But yeah, it was a pretty substantial tour. We did it 5 weeks. I can't remember exactly how many shows, Tess. Was it 23?
20 something. Yeah, probably 23. Yeah. Something like that.
And it was great. We were a little hesitant for a lot of reasons, mainly because of obviously the landscape of things right now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you're going to get with COVID restriction wise. It's a little bit risky. So we tried to, play everything by the book, and it really ended up paying off because a lot of people came out to the shows and they loved it, and it was just so great for us to be back out on tour again. Really, really nice to be back on stage after what was almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. No, I can't imagine what that's been like. Have you been having to record, I guess, virtually, or have you been able to both get into the studio?
We haven't gotten to studio point yet, but we are going to be jumping in a couple weeks, actually.
Yeah.
We'll be jumping into the studio. So just been demo stages right now.
So how do you make that work?
busy.
Yeah.
Very busy. It's like you cram in. Well, especially now that everything's up and running again, it's definitely all about like you come off tour, you have a little bit of time to yourself, and then you just you hop right back into whether it's like a songwriting session that you do or talking with potential producers and having that studio time booked, which we do in January. So it is definitely a lot of like time management, but that's the career. It's kind of like when you're off tour, you're thinking about what's coming out next, or you're recording what's coming out next, and then you switch again. So it's a lot, of year-round work. Thankfully, over the holidays, most things tend to shut down in the industry, so we get a little bit of breathing room, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, speaking of all the work you're doing now, I want to talk a little bit about what you did before you got into music. I know you're both from the University of Windsor.
Yeah.
So did you have a career before this?
No, we were in school when we started playing. So it's kind of like grown alongside with us. And actually, that's what a lot of the subject matter of the album Black Holes is about, is trying to figure that out. Like, do you go on and do this straight and narrow job that is solid, or do you go in to this black hole that you don't really know what could happen, but it's just drawing you in? And right around the time that we were graduating from our undergrads, and I know Tarek was doing a master's in physiotherapy as well in the UK. Around that time is when we got that call from that management agency that's with us now. And, we just kind of had to say like, okay, well, we have multiple offers for careers on the table. What do we really want to do? Let's give this thing a shot and just kind of like see how it goes. And that's kind of what we do every year. We check in around the same time that we signed that management deal and that initial album record deal. And we just say like, what's going on? Or do we keep going? Are we making progress? And then we go from there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it must be a difficult decision knowing if you want to push whatever you're doing in your education. You're doing a master's out in England. How do you know you wanted to jump into this?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been a passion, for both of us, right? And it's kind of really the big thing in your life that you always feel drawn towards, and you feel like a natural motivation to pursue. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that alone just sort of tells you like, that's kind of what you're meant to do. So we kept pursuing it. It was definitely tough. I remember being on like a physio placement and having to lie to my educator and be like, oh yeah, I have a wedding back home that I have to go do. Meanwhile, I'm actually flying to play a showcase in front of like these labels, because like you can't tell them the truth. They're not gonna believe you. Like if I'm like, yeah, I gotta go to New York and play in front of like RCA Records, they're gonna be like, okay, no. Yeah. But it was the truth, and it's just kind of like something that you had to do, which eventually led us to the point that we're at now, which was so we're happy that you did it, and you make sacrifices like that, all for your career.
Well, it's paid off. And just another quick question, talking about the history of the Bluestones. How did you both meet?
High school. Well, yeah. I mean, really, we actually played hockey together, like in 8th grade or something, but we didn't really like know each other. But yeah, like high school, kind of just similar friend groups and playing sports together. We were both on the football team. Then just kind of became close friends.
Mm-hmm.
And are you close friends outside of, writing songs and recording?
Yeah, definitely. Like we were close friends for a very long time, like, 6 or 7 years before we even ever picked up instruments with each other.
Yeah.
So it's not always it's not strict business.
No, like we our best
mode, and there's like friend mode,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like we all have the same very core close group of friends, and and they're two different entities. Sometimes they overlap, which is fun, but for the most part, we're just like friends outside of this.
That must be an asset to a strong band, is having that bond, right, between the members.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
Definitely for us, especially being a duo, it was really hard to bring other members in because Justin and I had such like a connection just from being friends for so long. but yeah, definitely, it's great. It's great to have that.
Yeah.
Would you ever bring in another member?
I mean, probably not like full time. Not like someone who to join the band to like songwrite and do that sort of stuff, but to be on stage as like we wrote all of their parts for them and like here's what you're gonna play.
Yeah,
I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once I start playing the ukulele, I'll let you know.
All right, bud.
Yeah.
Once we start writing
That's
ukulele parts, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Keep me in mind, please.
You might be waiting for a while.
Now going into just your success, and I know there's I have some friends that are in the music industry. They're just starting out. Besides producing a catchy song, one that people really, really love, what are some other important aspects to a band that whether you're by yourself, you're a duo, or a large group, what are some things you should keep in mind to really grow your audience?
I mean,
Yeah.
releasing music, obviously, like you said, that's important. Putting music out, playing shows. I mean, it's funny because like I remember Sam Roberts gave us that advice way early on, and it still kind of rings true. Like all the opportunities that were placed in front of us were from us just having played shows, and putting yourself in front of people enough times that somebody does kind of pick up on it. So, and also in doing that, it's just developing yourself as a musician and a better musician and a better live performer. So really like play shows, like that's important. What else do you think, Tess?
That's pretty much it. It's like just afford yourselves all the opportunities you can to get people to know who you are. And when Sam Roberts told us that, like, keep playing shows, I didn't get that, and I thought it was kind of like a little trite. But he's right. That's kind of the one thing that you can control, right? We were playing as many shows as we could, and then one show that we played in Toronto happened to have a guy in the audience who was connected to someone who places your music in TV shows, and they placed us in Suits. And then because we were in Suits, we got so many streams on Spotify. Because of that, we got onto the related artists, to Rain Wolf, and that's how our manager found us. It's like you can't control that stuff. That's going to happen randomly, but what you can control is how people can find you. Mm-hmm. And so just do that as much as you can, and kind of the rest will figure itself out. But yeah, like at the minimum, you need to have good music. You need to have great music, and but that doesn't get you anything. Mm-hmm. Funny enough, you can write a great song. That's not nearly enough. You have to do a lot more on top of that.
Yeah.
You have to market it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, a really good point is like you said, finding those different avenues to put your music out there, attending shows, different things like that. I had a question, but it escaped me a bit. But I'll jump into the next one. What is there any other advice you would just give generally to a musician?
Like, I guess from like a creative standpoint, when it comes to songwriting, you're going to write a lot of shit and you're going to think it sucks. And that's just part of it. Like, don't get discouraged if you write 10 songs that you don't like. You just have to keep doing it, because like that is actually part of the process of writing something really good, is writing a lot of bad things. And I feel like that kind of weighed on me very heavily when like first writing music, and it really demotivates you and it makes you kind of want to quit. But at the same time, like you just have to understand that that's part of the process, and it's just, that is the way that the creative mind works. So I would always say just like volume, like just write and write and write riffs. And if you have something in your head, like you're not going to remember it later, just put it in a voice memo or something, like it's just, be very proactive about like those creative impulses that you get, and like kind of expect that could end up being an entire song eventually. But yeah, I think from a creative standpoint, I would just say that it's okay if you write some bad stuff. You just got to keep pushing through that, because you will eventually get to some really, really great stuff that if you didn't keep pushing, you would have never reached.
For sure.
What about you, Justin? What do you think?
I would think the same. It just show up. Like if you, I think that a lot of our success came from consistency and we, you know, we have like worked on this project in some capacity at least every week for 10, 11 years now. So, I mean, it gives it that like compound interest effect where you end up building something over time just because you're making small steps and you're just constantly moving and pushing the envelope forward and trying something new and trying to find another audience member. You know, that it just over time it ends up snowballing, but just show up, like write music, and like Tarek's saying, just push through. I think it's Stephen King that said, he's like, my goal is to write 250 shitty words a day. And because I know eventually I'll have a novel that's good once I do that, right? Like the amount of stuff that he writes and the amount of stuff that he puts out is like 10% of what he actually writes. So you just gotta slog it through the crap, and then you get out, you know, a diamond at the other end. So
yes. Have you noticed any? It's been 11 years now, almost 12 since you formed. Have you seen what progress have you seen that you're really proud of?
I mean, just like playing to audiences around the world, man, is kind of that's kind of like the golden standard, right? I mean, streaming numbers are great. Never gonna turn those down, but at the end of the day, that's free, more or less. You know, you pay for the service, but then once you're in the door, you can listen to whoever you want, which I like that aspect for a different reason. But you know, going out and performing for people and being the center of someone's night. You know, we have a show in Berlin and there's 300 people, 350 people there that chose to spend their night with us. That's awesome.
Must mean a lot for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, I know you were talking. I thought I heard something about an album, which jumps into my final question before I let you guys go. What's next for the Bluestones? Where do you want to take the band? What are some future goals that you have in place?
Yeah, I mean, the most obvious one is definitely recording a new album and, you know, continuing to sort of put out music that we care about and that we really enjoy, you know, because I think that is important. You want to like the stuff that you record and that you release, right? And then just like continuing to develop our fan base, really. I know it sounds really vague, but it's kind of what you can do that is consistent. And that's not something that's even more ambiguous, like have a hit song. Like it's just, you know, you just want to develop your fan base and then the things will come, you know? But I'd say that it would be nice, I think, to get like a support slot on with a much larger band. Like, let's say a band that might be touring arenas through the States or through Canada or through Europe and being able to, let's say, open up for that band and kind of getting us in front of large audiences. That would be pretty cool. But really in the meantime, we're just going to end up headlining our own shows on our own tours anyway. So either way, you know, we're set to grow the fan base somehow.
Yeah. And obviously we're going on tour with the Beaches in February. As of right now, that's
6
still
weeks?
the plan. I'm sorry?
6 weeks now, right?
Is it? Okay. Wow. It's coming up.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. No, it's less actually. It's like 5.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. There's a lot we got to do.
That's awesome. Well, it's very exciting for you, and I love watching you both grow. I found out about you recently, but I'm going to continue to follow you and be one of your fans. And I appreciate your time joining the folks in Windsor, Essex. I know you both are extremely busy writing, recording, playing live. So I really appreciate your time, and I thought we had a great conversation tonight.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us on the show.
Awesome. All the best. And those watching, thanks so much. You can rewatch it on coffeewithcrainer.com, and we'll see you soon.